Hi, this is Marek from Tryb Solo. Today I would like to show you a game called Libertalia Winds of Galecrest. Thanks to Stonemaier Games for sending this game for review. And Winds of Galecrest is a new edition of Libertalia, a game that was released 10 years ago and it was not available anymore, I think. This one has some enhanced rules, new artwork, and Stonemaier decided to release this game with Stonemaier Games. And Libertalia is a game about sky pirates, at least this edition. The first one was about traditional pirates, and you are an admiral, you have a ship, you have your crew, and you are part of a pirate fleet that travels from island to island in order to find treasure and loot and fame, and you want to be the best captain in the whole fleet. This is a card game, and in this game you will play different crew cards that you have in your hand, and you will try to score maximum points and get as much money as you can by playing the best card, by gaining new crew members, and by finding some cool loot tokens and loot treasure that will give you most money. I will show you how the game plays and how the game looks like when it's set up on the table. It will be not strictly how to play video, but more or less I want to show you what is Libertalia about, how does it play, so you have an idea if it's something you would like to play or not. So let me show you the game, and then we'll come back here and I will tell you what I think about the gameplay. This is how Libertalia looks like when it's set up and prepared for play. This is a solo game. It's set up for a solo game, and I will explain how the solo mode works, but the gameplay in solo mode is very similar to multiplayer game, so I will tell you how to play Libertalia Winds of Galecrest, and you will see how it plays solo and multiplayer. This is the game board. It's double-sided. This is the easy side. On the other side it's the more advanced side. And the board is divided into a few parts. On the top you have the island, and this is the area where you will play your cards. Then you have the loot area with different loot tokens that you will be able to acquire during the game. The number of loot tokens depends on the number of players. Then you have the reputation track, and the reputation track is mostly used when there are draws between players. It tells which player has more advantage the higher the player is on the reputation track. And then you have the loot tiles, and they tell you what abilities or what benefits you gain from getting different loot tiles from the loot area in the game. The loot abilities are printed on the board, but you also have some tiles that you can shuffle and place randomly for more varied game. If you play solo, you have special tiles that you have to place on the board because they give different abilities than in a game where you play against other players. And the game of Libertalia is divided into 3 voyages. You can say that a voyage is a round, so we have 3 rounds, and every voyage is divided into days. So the days are basically turns. The first voyage takes 4 days, the second voyage takes 5 days, and the third voyage takes 6 days. And what can you do in your turn? And what you have to do to win the game? In the game you will have to get the most doubloons, so money, than other players, and the player with most money wins the game. So you will have to get loot, play cards, and get as much money as you can. Every player gets a deck of cards. You have 40 cards, and every player has got the same deck of cards with the same abilities, names, and numbers, just in different colors. And one player on the beginning of a round shuffles the deck and randomly picks 6 cards. And then he shows the cards to other players, and every player has to take exactly the same cards from their decks. So in a voyage, in a round, all players have the same cards in their hands. And during your turn, you have to pick one of the cards that you have here, and you have to play it on the island. And the cards are, every card is different, and every card has different abilities. And the abilities are divided into different types, because you have daytime abilities, you have dusk abilities, you have night abilities, and there are the anchor abilities, and all the different abilities are used in different moments of the game. So let's say I want to play Armorer. Every player secretly chooses one card, and then at the same moment plays the card on the island. So let's say this is my card, and the other player chooses, I don't know, Officer, and you play the cards from lowest to highest, and you have to look on the numbers here. And when all players put the cards on the island, you look at the cards from left to right, and you look at the abilities with the sun. So the player whose card is on the left uses the ability of his card first, and then the next player, and next player. And when every player uses the abilities with the daytime abilities on the cards, you go from right to left, and you use the dusk abilities of the cards. And the first player on the right, let's say it was the Armorer, it was my card. I look at the dusk abilities of my card, I take the card, place it on the table in front of me, and I have to take one loot token from the ones that are available here. And every loot token gives you different advantages, money, reputation, and everything. You have to choose one of the loot tokens that are here. Let's say I will take this one, and the next player checks if there are some dusk abilities on the card, takes one loot token, place it in front of his player area, and when all players do it, then you have to check all the night abilities on the card in front of you. The area in front of you is called the ship. So you look at the cards that are in front of you. You use all the night abilities on your cards, and the next day begins. So you have one card less in your hand. You have to play the card. All players play their card. They take the loot tokens, and it goes like this until the end of the voyage. When all days are over, there is the end of the voyage stage, where you look at all the anchor abilities of your cards in your player area, and you have to look on all the night abilities on the loot tokens that you gathered during the voyage. Mostly they will give you money, doublons, and then you calculate the total amount of money you got. You add it here to your counter, and you start voyage number 2, then you start voyage number 3, and after the third voyage, the player with most money wins the game. When you play solo, you play against two opponents. The first opponent is called Pilferer, and it's not a real automa, it's more like an annoyance and simpler automa that will reserve some spots on the island and will also take loot tokens from the offer, so you have less choice. But you have also a full automa that will score points, play cards, get money, and do mostly the same thing that you do in the game. And your turn looks more or less the same as in multiplayer game. You have to choose one card, and you have to play this card on the island. Let's say I will play, I don't know, this one. I will put it here. And then you have the Automa deck. Automa has got the same cards as you, exactly 40 cards. Just the abilities for Automa are a little different, and they are adjusted to, you know, to the Automa playstyle. So when you place your card, you take the first card from the Automa deck, and this is the Pilfer card, and you place it on the island as well. And then you look at the top card on the Automa deck, and you have to check which loot tokens are available for a given day. If there are 3 loot tokens of this type, you look at this row, or free 2 loot tokens of this type, or free loot tokens of this type, free curses. If there are not any loot tokens that are shown here, you look at the second row, if there are 2 curses on the loot offer. If not, you look at the third row. And the third row is okay because we have 1 hook and we have 1 relic. So you look at the row and it says that the automa takes second card from the right. So automa will play the armorer. And you take this card, you place it on the island, and that's it. And then you, just like in the multiplayer game, you check the daytime abilities from left to right, then the dusk abilities from right to left. Then automa also takes loot tokens, the pilferer takes loot tokens, you take loot tokens, and you continue until the end of the voyage. Then you calculate the money, you start the second voyage, first voyage, and the player with most money wins the game. So this is more or less how you play Libertalia Winds of Galecrest. Now let me tell you what I think about this game. As you have seen from the previous part of the video, Libertalia Winds of Galecrest is not a complicated game. The how to play section in the rulebook takes like 3 pages, and during your turn you will have to play 1 card from the one available in your hand, and according to the card that you played, you will fire different abilities. You have, day abilities, night abilities, anchor abilities, and others, and then you will get 1 loot token from the offer that is put on a specific day of the whole round, because in this game the whole game is divided into 3 voyages, like 3 rounds, and every round takes a specific number of days, turns. So the first round is 4 turns, the second round is 5 turns, and the last round lasts for 6 turns. So because the rules are very easy, it's a game that you can easily teach others how to play, and because it's from 1 to 6 players, you can play it solo. You have an automa factory solo mode, but if more people come to your house and you want something quick, something fun, and something easy to learn, to teach, Libertalia Winds of Galecrest is a great game for this. Most fun in this game is in the cards, because every player has got 40 cards, and the fun thing is that every round all the players have the same cards, so you know what cards your opponent may have, but you are never sure which card they will play, because if you play a card with lower number, you will be able to use your action first, but then you will be the last person to gain the loot token. If you play a card with higher number, you will be the first one to take a loot token, but maybe this card is not something you really wanted to play. So this is something you have to find the balance between your goals and between getting loot and playing your actions. It's really fun, and you have a solo mode here. You play against the automas. One is a simple one that only just takes the loot tokens from you if you play a low numbered card, and there is a full automa that scores points, plays cards. The full automa has got a specific deck of cards with the actions adjusted to the rules of automa, but it plays just like any other living player, so it's fun because you have 2 opponents to play against. The game is quite fast. From the box it says 45 to 60 minutes. I think it's accurate. Probably if you play with 2, 3, 4 people that know how to play the game, I think you can finish this game in maybe 30 minutes. The production quality is great. You have a plastic insert. The card quality is really cool. You have this nice loot tokens made from plastic. They are similar to games like Azul. There is a plastic box with the money tokens in it, so the production is really great. It's a light game, it's a fun game. Surprisingly, it plays really good solo, because you could think that a game like this, when all players have the same card and the fun is from guessing which card will other players play, will not really be fun to play in solo mode, but the solo mode is fun, and a lot of people on Board Game Geek says that playing this with one player is a good idea, so I agree. If you like colorful games that are easy to play, easy to learn, and just fun, Libertalia Winds of Galecrest is a cool addition to your collection. Visit me on Instagram, visit me on Twitter, visit me on Facebook. You will see more photos from this game and from other games that I play. Subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you like this video. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.